I bailed on my sister's wedding. And while it wasn't an easy decision, I knew it was the right one. When I was 19, I found out I was pregnant with my son, Sam. My family didn't take the news well. They were ashamed, embarrassed, and decided to cut me out of their lives entirely. I was devastated, but I had no choice but to move forward without them. Thankfully, I wasn't entirely alone. Sam's father, John, was there for me. John was an American exchange student, and when he proposed that we get married and start fresh in his home country, I accepted. It wasn't the life I had envisioned for myself, but it was a chance to rebuild. Starting over in a new country was far from easy. John worked long hours as a mechanic, while I stayed home to care for Sam. Money was tight, but we made it work. Over time, I came to terms with my family's absence. They hadn't called, written, or even acknowledged Sam's existence. It hurt, but I focused on creating a new family with John and Sam. That's why I was completely blindsided when, 6 months ago, my mom called out of the blue. She told me my sister Emma was getting married and wanted me to be her maid of honor. I couldn't believe it. After years of silence, they suddenly wanted me back in their lives? Despite my reservations, I agreed, hoping this was their way of making amends. When the wedding invitation arrived, I saw it would take place back in my home country. Guests were expected to cover their own travel and accommodations, which wouldn't be cheap. John immediately offered to pick up extra shifts so Sam and I could go. I was touched by his support and excited about the opportunity to reconnect with my family. A month before the wedding, Emma called to confirm everything. We chatted briefly about the plans, and I mentioned that Sam and I were excited to attend. Her tone shifted instantly. "Oh," she said sharply, "I didn't think I needed to say this, but the wedding is child-free." I was stunned. The invitation hadn't mentioned anything about children. I told her I couldn't leave Sam behind. John's work schedule wouldn't allow for it, and we couldn't afford a nanny. I tried to explain, but she cut me off. "It's standard," she said impatiently. "I thought you'd assume. Just leave him with John." I told her I respected her decision to have a child-free wedding, but that meant I wouldn't be able to come. I even offered to reimburse her for any costs she'd already incurred for me. Emma was furious. She accused me of being selfish and ruining her big day. Before I could respond, she hung up. Over the next few days, the messages started rolling in. Emma sent text after text, calling me a bad sister and accusing me of making everything about myself. Some of her friends joined in, saying I was inconsiderate and didn't understand how much work went into planning a wedding. The guilt was overwhelming, but I stood firm. For years, my family had ignored me. They hadn't reached out when I was struggling as a single mom, and now they expected me to drop everything for Emma's wedding. The hypocrisy wasn't lost on me. I kept thinking about how they'd turn their backs on me when I needed them most. The truth is, I wanted to go to the wedding. I wanted to reconnect with my family and be part of Emma's big day. But I couldn't abandon my son to do it. Sam is my priority, and I wasn't about to compromise his well-being to please people who had barely acknowledged him. I stopped responding to Emma's messages. I realized I didn't owe her an explanation. If she couldn't understand my situation, that was on her, not me. My focus needed to be on my own family, the one I'd built with John and Sam. Looking back, I'm sad for what could have been, but also relieved. My family has never truly been there for me, and I don't need their approval to feel whole. I have John and Sam, and they're all the family I need.